is Ideology, and today I'd like to talk with you about why it is that your ADHD child doesn't focus as much as you'd like them to, even when they're on the meds, and what to do about it. So meds can be fantastic to help your child with ADHD, but they're only part of the equation. They don't fix the entire problem. See, motivation is really important for ADHD kids, and meds can fix that. So in this video, I want to share with you tips and tricks that will help your child get more motivated to do their homework and do their chores so that their meds can have more effects on their brains. Their meds can work the way they're supposed to. So if that sounds interesting, stick with this video and keep on watching. Now, in order to properly motivate your child to do their chores and their homework, we need to understand more about dopamine. Now, dopamine is a neurotransmitter in the brain, and it is largely responsible for some of the symptoms in ADHD. You see, children and adults with ADHD have difficulty processing and holding on to dopamine. Now, dopamine is a neurotransmitter that is in your body. Now, the function of dopamine is, generally to make you feel happy, make you feel good about yourself. It's like your body's reward system. Now, the problems with ADHD kids and adults is that dopamine does not get released at the right time, does not stay in the body for long enough, and there's just, in general, issues with dopamine creation and retention. So meds do address this issue. However, the problem is that, video games will create a lot more dopamine than doing homework. And this is the reason why your child might be super focused doing video games, but super not focused doing homework. So how can you use this knowledge to your advantage so that your child can get focused doing their homework and their chores? So my favorite trick is to have tiny reward system. And this is how it works. So let's say that you're sitting down with your child to do homework. There's 20 questions on the homework. So you're going to sit with them and you're going to break it down and say, every 2 questions that you get right or that you do, you're going to get a reward like 1 chip. And when I do mean 1 chip, I do mean 1 chip. I don't mean a handful of chip. I mean 1 chip or 1 bite of a cookie or 1 sip of a chocolate milk or whatever they enjoy. Keep it fresh, changing on a regular basis, and that will just keep it interesting. So every time they do 2 questions or 3 questions or a set amount that you guys agree together, they get that tiny reward. Now, what does that do? That releases a small amount of dopamine in their brain. So 2 questions, dopamine. 2 questions, dopamine. 2 questions, dopamine. So on and so forth. And so the brain and the child starts to learn that every time they do something correct on their homework, they get rewarded. Now, this is super important for ADHD kids because ADHD kids and adults have difficulty with dopamine retention. That means they cannot hold on to that dopamine. So by constantly feeding them those small rewards, they get to feel happy. And that properly motivates them to finish their task and their homework. Now, the objective here is to mimic what would basically happen in a video game. Now, video games give the brain instant reward. You land a punch, your opponent goes down, you win a point. You move in the right direction, you win a point, so on and so forth. There's always rewards that are happening in those video games. And those tiny rewards in video games make it addictive to the brain. Not only ADHD kids, but all kids easily get addicted to video games because of these small can't say this word. These small rewards that you have step by step, right? I can't say the word. And this is what you want to mimic doing homework, giving them small rewards for every task they complete. And I guarantee you, your child will finish his or her homework much faster than you previously thought was possible. My son used to take 2.5 to 3 hours a day consistently, no matter what, to do homework. After implementing this strategy, 40 minutes tops every day consistently. Now, we have a lot more techniques like this in the Daddyology program. So if you're interested, I encourage you to go in the link down below, send us an email, and see if Daddyology is right for you. Cheers and bye for now.